One side of the brain is constantly fighting with the other. One side is the side that you have control over, which is the pilot, the conscious brain. The other side is the autopilot, which is the subconscious brain that you don't have immediate control over. And let me tell you what the autopilot does. It is where the old ideas passed down to us over time reside or live. Ideas like, I can't do that, or I'm not good at that, or I'm lazy, that wouldn't work for me, or I don't like to work, I don't believe in that, I can't succeed because fill in the blank, my company doesn't provide me with this, they give me the worst calls, I'm not going to make money because I'm having a bad day, I'm in an area that is way too much competitive, there's a lot of plumbers here, I can't make any money, my customers are all cheap, my manager is holding me back, my pay plan is holding me back, I can't save money because I got too many bills, I don't have the proper education, so there's no way I'm going to ever succeed in life, so-and-so is holding me back, accounting is holding me back, the call center is giving me bad calls, they're all against me, the rules are meant to break, and some of them are really bad subconscious or autopilot thinking, which is I need to be dishonest to make a buck. In order for me to win, somebody has to lose, blah, 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 you fill in the blank. This is the autopilot, and this part, how the autopilot has been programmed, it has been programmed without even us knowing. This comes back from beliefs that were passed on to us as a child, what we heard as a kid, and this is what was passed down to us from friends, family, maybe people that you shouldn't have been hanging out with, gang members, whatever affiliation or groups that you've been around that got passed down to us subconsciously. And it could have been stuff we watched on TV, news, it could have been life experiences, people that have had bad life experiences where they've been, as a childhood, they got beaten by an adult or something happened that created this belief system that I can't trust people, I can't do this is bad, this isn't good, if this happens, that's going to happen. Good or bad, it was programmed. We all came with this. Every single one of us have been programmed in our subconscious mind, which is our autopilot, somehow or another. So a lot of this has been passed down to us. All of us have had this happen to us. Now, this is our subconscious brain, which I call the autopilot. This is what actually makes you end up somewhere where you get in a car and you make a wrong turn. You go, why the heck am I going this way? Because your conscious mind is thinking of something else, and the autopilot took over and took you somewhere. And it's not only the driving that the autopilot does this with. And this has happened to me many times where I've worked so many days. I go to work, take this route so much that one day I'm going somewhere, it's the opposite direction, but I find myself heading to work. I go, what the heck am I doing? And I know this has happened to you guys as well. I'm not alone when this happens. And this is what I call the autopilot that takes over because your conscious mind is busy thinking of something else. Your subconscious takes over and takes you in that direction. And your subconscious also takes you in the direction of your bad habits or your belief systems that's been passed down over the years. Here's the pilot. Here's the conscious mind. Like I said, the conscious mind is what brought you here. This is when you take immediate action and do positive changes in your life. The pilot, you learn and do until your autopilot kicks in and takes over. Your conscious brain is the one that shows up to these meetings, goes to TNT, goes to boot camp, listens to audiobooks. It's the one that allows you to do the things that are good for you, makes the choices that are healthy when you're eating something, right? You go, hey, I'm going to choose this over this. And this is your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is awake for parts of the day when it wakes up and says, hey, I got to do this. But as soon as your conscious mind goes to bed or just you're not thinking, your autopilot takes over and takes you into a different direction. I know some of you are thinking now, John, that's good, but, I don't have that problem. My philosophy in life is good, but let me tell you something. I'm going to rain on your parade for a moment. We all have this problem. All of us, we all have this problem of our subconscious mind taking us into directions that we really do not want to go into. And including me, guys, including me and everybody, we're all flawed this way. That's why we need to be aware of this, two sides of our brain. Right now, I'm letting you know so you have the awareness to understand why things happen the way they happen. Our autopilot programming is our philosophy. philosophy. It's our belief system. Our autopilot programming or our subconscious mind is our philosophy. And your philosophy is your attitude. Your attitude is your actions, and your actions is your life. Okay, that's what determines if your life is going to go in a good direction or a bad direction. It all has to do with this subconscious mind. If we could go in there and reprogram it like we reprogram our phones or a computer or something, then boom, all of a sudden everything goes well. Right? How can I change my autopilot or my philosophy? And there's a saying, the beginning to all improvements is acceptance. See, unless we all accept that there is a better way of thinking and a better philosophy than what we have now, we will never get there. So you have to accept and know that there is a better way. If your life is not the way you want it to be today, then understand that there is a better way. And the way that you have to do that, okay, I'm going to share some of the ways I've done it in the past. The way you can do it is the same exact way. But you have to create the habits and do it all the time. This is why when I bring up one of the best sales training to the group, only 8 people joined. When I brought Grant Cardone University, this is what happened, guys. Some of you, your conscious mind kicked in, said, boom, that makes sense. I'm going to sign up. You raised your hand. You committed. You signed up. Right? And the pilot said, yeah, I want that. I want to improve and make more money. I want to learn better strategies and better ways. Raise your hand and you signed up. Okay, I'm going to invest in myself. Okay, it makes sense. Then the autopilot eventually took over and says, what the hell are you doing? Don't do it. It talks you out of it. Or you raise your hand, you sign up, and you go, I'm going to do this. And you go in and you do it for 3 or 4 days. And then 4 or 5 days later, your conscious mind goes to sleep. Your autopilot kicks in. Your old habits kick right back in. And you signed up, but you're not logging in anymore. That's it. You're not watching. You're not taking the commitment of watching 2 videos a day because your autopilot has taken over and has told you it's enough. You're too busy. You don't have time for this. What good is it, right? Look, the autopilot always wins. I want you to know that the autopilot will always win. The pilot can take over for a minute, turn the plane around. However, the autopilot will eventually take over and it will change its course again. This is constantly happening in your life and it's happening in mine. That we want to make a positive improvement, then boom, autopilot kicks in and takes us right back to where we want. And I'll give you examples. You know, people make New Year's resolutions, right? Gyms. The biggest time for gyms is January, December and January. Membership is going over the roof. Okay, people are going and going and going. This is their conscious mind. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this, right? And then all of a sudden the subconscious eventually takes over. It might take over in middle of January or it might take over in February, but eventually you keep paying the membership and you just never go again. And that's it. And your subconscious, what happened? The autopilot won. Okay, the key to turn your life around, to how to turn your life, turns out, is your ability to understand the source of your attitude. Okay, where it's coming from. And the source of your attitude is your philosophy, the way you see yourself, and the way you see the world. Is it a good place or it's a bad place? This will tell you if you're going to succeed or not. I see the world as a good place because I look at statistics, right? And I've learned this by reading and looking at facts that people are actually living. There's less people in poverty today than there was 50 years ago. There's less people starving today than there was 50 years ago. So everything is going in the right direction. However, the news doesn't want us to know that. There's a story of this girl, Tameka Crawford, which is in the book we're reading, called Success for Teens. And it talks about this girl that comes from a foster home and she goes into college, and this girl, her philosophy of the world is that people leave you alone or you can't trust. And she's hanging out with these kids that have parents and they're going to college as well. And she doesn't see herself as having the same advantages of these people do. So what does she do? She goes to college and she starts feeling sorry for herself and tells herself that, oh, I can't do well in school. You know, I go to foster school. I don't have people to call that love me. All of this stuff that she makes up. And her grade point average goes to 1.0. She meets a guy that says, forget school, let's just ditch. And she goes that route, starts skipping school and says, yeah, I'm not worthy. Nobody really cares about me. Her philosophy of life is messed up because what happened? Situations happened. She doesn't doesn't have parents and she's in foster care. And then she's roommating with some people and she sees some of the girls in school that have advantages. Their parents are sending them money. They're sending them love. They have vacation plans, and her plans are, I have no money. My vacation plans are going to watch a good movie. So she obviously feels envious, feels sorry for herself, till one day she thinks and she says, I got to turn my life around, right? This is not going in the right direction. I'm failing school. I'm miserable. I feel sorry for myself. And she starts figuring out all the things she's grateful for. Says, you know, those people at the foster care really love me as well. I mean, there's some social workers. There's people coming in there and volunteering their time to take care of us, and starts seeing some of the good in her life, right? She gets a job and starts working and starts saving money. She stops hanging out with the boy that was ditching school and taking her in the wrong direction. And what ends up happening is she gets some therapy from school. She starts seeing a psychologist and starts addressing some of the issues that she had as a child, right? And then she starts seeing life in a better tone, in a better way, and her life starts turning around. Her philosophy changed. She started changing her subconscious mind through having more power over her conscious mind by getting professional help, and all of a sudden her life is going in the right direction. Now ask yourself, how can I change my autopilot or philosophy or reprogram it? Okay, that's a good question. There's only one way to do that, guys. It's by forcing the old beliefs out of your mind, by forcing the subconscious mind, forcing information into the conscious, through the conscious mind, into the subconscious mind, where the place cannot occupy both, can't occupy the old beliefs and the new beliefs. You don't have to get a therapist like Tamika did. However, that may not be a bad idea for some of us because our philosophies are so bad, or we have so many deep wounds from the past that we do need to have some healing in our life. And I'm going to share with you now the things that I have done to change my philosophy, and I keep doing because I understand that, look, the bad comes in with the good. Every time the door is open and you let the good in, sometimes the bad sneaks in as well. So you have to continuously check yourself and check your mind and be in a place where you take yourself in the right direction. And I'm going to tell you how I did it, how I started doing it, and how things started changing when I was doing it. First, I created a list of affirmations and goals and beliefs, better beliefs. Some of it is our values, like everything that happens to us happens for a reason greater than us, therefore I welcome all experiences, good or bad, knowing that greater success lies ahead in them. I started believing that everything that's happening in my life, even if it's bad, even if it's something I don't want to happen, if it's happening, I started creating this belief that that's good. Something good's going to come out of it. I know something great is going to come out of it. God, I got served with a lawsuit. I got so-and-so, XYZ happened. Somebody scratched my car. I got rear-ended. I got into an accident. I woke up late. I'm late to this meeting, whatever, right? Something good's going to come out of it, good or bad. I believe something's good going to come out of it, but I have to learn from this experience, right? And I made affirmations, a huge list of affirmations. I could share that with you guys if you wanted. After this meeting, just send me a text message and I'd be happy to send you the affirmations I've created. And I keep adding to it. Then I took this list and I started reading them. I started reading the list three times a day, morning, noon, and night. I started reading them. I looked myself in the mirror and started reading them. Then I recorded them. I recorded them on my iPhone with the ocean music on the background, all of these positive affirmations. Then I used this technique, guys, number 3, called reprogramming the subconscious mind. And the way you do reprogram the subconscious mind is through meditation. So I did it this morning. I lay down. I've got this comfortable spot in my office, a chair where I sit down and spend a lot of time in the mornings. And I lay down because I've got this footrest and I have the ability to put the chair down and lay down. I lay down. I turn on my meditation, and for the first minute or so of the meditation, it's this relaxing music, and then it says that the gate's opening to the subconscious mind. It's opening up. Now I'm going to open it up and I'm going to let all these new ideas in, and I imagine myself having like a door to my mind, and my mind is opening up, and now I'm going to pour in all of this information in my mind. Kind of sounds weird, I know, but it works. And I let it in. For 10 minutes, it's me, my voice, talking to myself, going, John, life is good. Everything good is happening. And whatever these affirmations are, I can't recite them right now, but one by one, these positive affirmations are going into my mind. And I just feel this information just pouring into my mind, all right? I could just see it happening, right, with my eyes closed. And then as soon as I'm done with it, it says, okay, we're going to go ahead and close it. You're going to wake up and you're going to have a great day. This information is going to serve you. You're going to get out there. The world's a great place. You're going to help other people in whatever I end it with, what I end it with, and then it just goes out there, right? And then I just wake up. And it takes me 10 minutes to do. I used to, when I had an office in the building, I have these mats. John is probably wondering what those mats are on the floor because I gave him my office. And I had these yoga mats, and I used to, at 12 o'clock before lunch, I used to just lay it down, or after lunch, to lay it down underneath my desk. And I used to lay down and turn on my affirmations, and I'd take a 10-minute affirmation break right around 12 o'clock. And I did that every single day for years and years and years and years and years, to reprogram all the BS that went into my mind for the first 17, 20 years of my life, or 25 years of my life, so I could reprogram it so I could turn my life around. Then I started this meditation in the beginning, like I said, in the beginning, at noon, and then at night before I went to bed. I used to do that as well. And this is what I started doing, guys, to reprogram my subconscious mind. And let me tell you, here's things that I stopped doing. Okay, you got to start doing certain things, but here's things I stopped doing. I stopped watching the news or anything that was negative. I just stopped doing that. I stopped hanging out with people that had a bad philosophy, people that had really a bad philosophy. I didn't do it right away. I just slowly started backing out of those relationships, right? Because I didn't want to hang out and learn the same philosophies they did. I understand that's how I got it, because I didn't know any better. You know, when I was going to school, I used to love to hang out with bad boys because I felt like, that gave me an adrenaline, and, that whole thing, that whole scene I had wasn't good. It took me to jail. It made me do bad things. So I understood that I have to stop hanging out with people that still believe and do those kind of things. So I backed out. I surrounded myself with better people. And if I didn't have better people, then I had my phone, I had my audiobooks, and I started listening to audiobooks. And today I make a list at night of the things I resisted from the talk we had last week. What are the things you're resisting? And at night I write down the things I resisted. And sometimes the things I resisted was going out with a friend that wanted to go out because I knew the next day I had to be focused, or doing this or doing that, right? And what I started doing is I started listening to people, amazing people that have accomplished amazing things. Right now I'm just finishing Richard Branson's book, Keeping My Virginity. He wrote this book about his life, about all of the successes he had in his life. And I'm listening to things like this, and I'm learning from, he doesn't know me, but I know him. And I'm learning all of the information that he has. John Maxwell, I entrenched myself into the Maxwell series, and I just listened and listened and listened to every single book he had, every single thing about his life. And he didn't know me, I knew him. Zig Ziglar back in the days, I read every single one of his books over and over and over and over again until I learned his philosophy in life, and I adopted some of the philosophies that he had to offer. So what do I do right now? 20 hours of Richard Branson I've spent within a week and a half. I spent on my runs and on the times of my days that I had extra time in my car when I was driving to work, driving to appointments, right? I was taking in this good philosophy. Guys, I'm going to rewind and go back to the beginning. And this is what I'm saying. The two sides of your brain are constantly fighting one another. There's your conscious brain, your pilot, okay, that is in charge of your life, that's fighting the subconscious brain, which is the autopilot. And the only way the pilot is going to win is by the pilot needs to reprogram the autopilot. And how do you do that? I explained exactly what to do, guys. You have to hang out with people that have a better philosophy in life. You have to get information and put good information into your mind, really good content into your mind. You could do it with audiobooks and other things like that are available right now. I use Audible, and I go through probably 20, 30, 40 books a year of listening to books. I have podcasts. I have 3 or 4 of my favorite podcasts that I listen to. Sometimes I get backed up in my podcast because I'm listening to an audiobook, and it's taken me so long to listen to this audiobook. But let's reprogram our autopilots, guys, so it'll take our lives in the directions that we want. My goal is to create 99 millionaires, to open up 88 locations, and I want to be a hero to the people on the other side of this phone, people in the plumbing industry. And I'm going to do it, guys, number 1, by reprogramming my autopilot, okay? And number 2, by convincing and doing the best I can to help people reprogram their autopilot so their life could go in a better direction. And this is the reason why we have these weekly meetings, guys. Okay, yesterday I sent out some content that I want you guys to take time to practice. This will better the skills at work. I sent you about 10 or 12 or 8, I don't remember how many money closes that I learned through the Grant Cardone University videos that I watch every single morning. I started jotting it down because I want to deliver that information to you guys. But I want you guys to take the time to reprogram your subconscious mind as well, that autopilot that you have. And remember, guys, the autopilot always wins. Might as well make the autopilot what you want it to be, so you will automatically win. And that's the power, okay? And it's going to take hard work and effort and consistency in the beginning, but once you do this, it's going to change your life. Guys, this is the reason, I want to go back to this point. This is the reason why we go to TNT, we go to boot camp, we learn the concepts, and we go, I'm going to go out there and do this. And you run out the door, and all of a sudden you apply the concepts, and things go in a good direction, and then eventually things go in a bad direction, and they start going down, down, and down, and you're wondering what it is. And your autopilot is probably blaming your manager, is blaming if you're a channel leader, it's probably blaming your text, probably blaming your geography. Oh, my area is too big. You know, I'm driving around all day. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I can't sell anything because I'm in my car all day. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it probably is true because your autopilot will take you in that direction. But if you gain control over your life, let me tell you guys, if your pilot takes over and reprograms the autopilot and you get better every single day at your job, at your position, at life, at your philosophy in life, then your life will be headed in a better direction. And then you can do that, and then you could turn your family's life around too, because they're fighting the same challenges you are as well, guys. They're gaining philosophies in life that's being passed down to them by their school, by their peers, by everybody. So your goal needs to be to change your life around to make your philosophy right so you could pass that down to your children, your family members, and the people you love. I just want you guys to know I'm here to serve you guys, here to give you everything I can. And every week we're going to have these meetings. We're going to talk about this. I want you guys to go out there and change your philosophy, guys. Make your attitudes better. Make your philosophy in life better. Reprogram the autopilot so it'll take you in the direction you want to go to. So when the pilot sleeps, the autopilot's still taking you in the direction you want your life to go. That's all for today, guys. I know the meeting's a little short, but I hope you can take this concept and understanding of the two brains and use that, guys. Understand that the subconscious will always win. The autopilot will always win. So make the effort to reprogram subconscious mind. I'm going to go ahead and close the meeting with a blessing. May the roads rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine soft upon your face, and may the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of his hand. Thank you, guys.